This is a story of a weak orphan boy in a new world, with E-rank skills, who was abandoned by everyone, but he surprises everyone by taking revenge on them. Toka Momori had a tough life, getting abused at home by his mother's new boyfriend after his father died. He was beaten every day and barely got enough food, hiding in fear while his mother ignored. He grew up lonely, weak, and lacking confidence. One day, he woke up from a nightmare of his stepfather beating him, only to hear Oyamata, the class bully, teasing Ayaka for reading girly novels. Momori wanted to stand up for her, imagining how it would happen in a TV show, but he knew in real life, nobody on the bus would care, and he might just get beaten up. Most popular kids supported Oyamata, and the others laughed to avoid trouble. The teacher was useless asleep at the front, as Oyamata harassed Ayaka for her phone number. Suddenly Momori stood up, facing Oyamata, and telling him to leave Ayaka alone. Oyamata laughed and called him weak, but then Kirihara, the popular guy, told Oyamata to give the book back to Ayaka, and he doesn't care about Momori at all. Surprisingly, Oyamata obeyed and returned the book to her. Momori was puzzled why Kirihara helped Ayaka, which is something unusual for him, but before he could think more, everyone on the bus was transported to a different world. They all stood there completely shocked, in a place they didn't recognize, with a beautiful goddess standing on a bridge, introducing herself as Goddess Vicious. She explained that whenever a demon king threatened their kingdom, the aliens' kingdom summoned brave warriors from other worlds to protect them. 200 years ago, the kingdom of aliens faced near destruction from the demon king. Thanks to some heroes, they defeated him and wiped out his entire army. Now, with the demon king resurrected, they had been brought to this world as new heroes destined to defeat him and save the kingdom. The students were utterly confused, wondering if they were dead, or if this was some kind of dream. Their teacher quieted them down and instructed them to listen to what the goddess had to say. Momori looked around at the ancient architecture, the soldiers in armor holding spears, and the goddess with her golden eyes, then pinched himself to check whether if he was dreaming or not. Kirihara spoke up, asking the goddess what would happen if they refused to cooperate. Vicious smiled and explained that she wouldn't be able to send them back to their world. Kirihara asked if there was any way to return, and Vicious replied that a reverse summoning ritual could send them back, but they needed to kill the Demon King to obtain a special item called the Evil Element, which would be dropped upon his defeat. Oyamata yelled at Vicious for bringing them to a new world without their consent and refused to help. Vicious knelt down and pleaded with them to save her kingdom from destruction. Ayaka voiced their doubts, saying they were just humans who couldn't do much. Vicious reassured them, promising they possessed abilities they hadn't yet discovered. Oyamata still thought it was all a joke, so Vicious decided to prove it with a prisoner of war and a giant demon dog. She released the giant demon dog, which immediately attacked and killed the prisoner. Some of the girls were horrified and fell to their knees, while Vicious chanted a spell that engulfed the monster in flames, completely destroying it. She then called the students forward to measure their hidden abilities. After some students were tested, Oyamata approached the crystal, and as soon as he touched it, it glowed bright red. The goddess smiled and said he had A-rank skills. Next, Kirihara stepped up, but when he touched the crystal, it glowed bright gold before exploding. After him, Ayaka went forward and also turned out to be S-rank just like Kirihara. As more students tried, another girl also revealed to be S-rank. Vicious explained that having even one S-rank individual was very rare, but having 3 was extraordinary. Finally, Momori approached the crystal, but when he touched it, it glowed dim purple. The goddess didn't pay much attention and moved on to the next person. Momori tried to ask the goddess, but she ignored him completely. He walked away, realizing that even in this world, he was destined to be a background character. After that, Yasu goes up to the crystal and discovers a special dark ability within him, similar to a powerful hero from the past, who became the strongest. Finally, everyone checks their stats, as the goddess explains that each person has a unique ability. Then, she calls Momori to the front, and a guard pushes him forward immediately. She sends him down into a dark pit, the lowest rank in their group. Historically, those with E-rank skills have caused trouble and are often put to death. But this time, With so many amazing heroes around, she gives Momori a chance to save his life. He will be sent to the abandoned ruins, a distant dungeon where criminals and monsters are sent. She tells him that if he survives, they will leave him alone and let him live. Otherwise, it's the end of the road for him. He tries to argue, but the goddess tells him that he's in the failure and abnormal category, meaning his stats are so low that no amount of training can improve them. He gets angry and tells her that he didn't choose to come here. He was summoned against his will, and now they're discarding him. Kirihara interrupts, saying he's wasting everyone's time, especially since the girls are tired. Everyone agrees with Kirihara, and Momori sinks to the ground, feeling defeated. When Yasu approaches him, the goddess apologizes, saying she didn't mean to hurt him. Yasu, however, rebuffs Momori, reminding him that as an ear-anchor, he should show more respect to his superiors. Momori loses all hope as the goddess starts the ritual and tosses him a leather bag as his special item, which turns out to be completely useless. Ayaka tries to defend Momori, saying it's unfair to him, and he is also a part of our class, but goddess shuts her down. Frustrated, he raises his arm and uses his ear-ranked skill paralysis, but the goddess easily stops that. Kirihara also casts a spell, conjuring a huge fireball, explaining it was just a small demonstration of mana use. Everyone laughs at the vast difference in power between Momori and themselves. Momori bows his head, tears streaming down from his cheeks. He remembers how he used to cry when he was younger. Suddenly, something inside him urges Momori to stop pretending to be good and show his true nature, the feelings he's suppressed for so long. He looks up with eyes filled with anger and tells the goddess that she's wicked, warning her to watch out if he survives. Immediately, he finds himself in a dark cave. He tries to check his status, but struggles due to the dim light. Then he put some mana into the leather bag, and the gem started glowing. He used it like a lantern while walking through the cave. Suddenly, he saw skeletons under his feet and got scared. He wondered what had killed so many people. Then suddenly a monster attacked him. He narrowly dodged it and ran away. The monster chased him as he ran with all his strength. He thought about fighting back, but he knew that the monster was too powerful. Fear overwhelmed him, and he started crying. He felt a terrible feeling and fell down. As he looked back, he saw the monster ready to kill him. Frustration and fear took over. Just as the monster was about to strike, he tried a last-ditch effort and cast a paralysis spell that petrified the monster. He quickly got up and ran to the end of the cave. There, another bird demon approached him, clearly intending to kill him. Momori lifted his head and cast the paralysis spell again, freezing the enemy once more. He realized it wasn't just luck. His spell actually worked. Feeling tired, he checked his stats and saw his mana was almost gone. Knowing he had one more MP left, he tried a poison spell on the monster. It worked well, making the demon turn black and bleed. Sitting on the cave floor, Momori wondered why his spells were so effective against these demons. Suddenly, he heard something behind him. He turned and saw that the Minotaur monster had broken free from the spell, ready to strike him down. Instead of running away, all the anger from those who had mistreated him surged through Momori. Even though he was completely depleted, he raised his arms towards the demon. Determined to fight for his life from now on, he challenged the demon to face him, unsure if he would survive this time or not. Momori remembers how the goddess had treated him badly, his tough childhood, and all the times he had been betrayed. Through gritted teeth, he promised himself, "I won't die here. I'll survive. I'll make them all regret mocking me." Momori realizes that he had used up all his mana on the goddess, the Minotaur, and the bird demon, and twice on a light gem. Now, he had no mana left except his own inner strength. He worried if he used too much, he wouldn't have enough left to escape the ruins. When he tried to use paralysis again, a message said he couldn't use the same skill twice in a row on the same target. Unsure what to do, he put the Minotaur monster to sleep and then used poison. Each spell he casts made him more tired. With more bird demon coming toward him, he knew he had to give everything he had. He wondered if he would run out of strength before he could defeat them all. Casting paralysis over and over, Momori started to feel himself losing consciousness. As more monsters came, Momori was reaching his limit. Just when it seemed too much, one of the bird demons he poisoned earlier finally fell. He got a huge level up and his mana instantly refreshed. With a grin, Momori realized that he could now handle them all. Using Paralyze on the charging Minotaur, he knew he had the upper hand. With each successful use of Paralyze, his skill improved, now allowing him to freeze multiple enemies at once. He hadn't failed to afflict any monster, except the goddess. Moving swiftly, he poisoned all the paralyzed monsters, leveling up that skill too. Momori had turned the situation into an leveling ground for him. Checking his status screen, he saw his level multiplying his base stats, giving him an extraordinary amount of mana. As more monsters fell, his stats continued to grow. The entire floor was being cleared out, and Momori's level was rising rapidly. As Momori goes deeper into the ruins, he also improved his ability to put monsters to sleep. Feeling more confident about surviving and getting revenge, he prepared to confront the next group of monsters. Just as he was about to face them, the creatures suddenly trembled in fear and ran away. Searching around, he found a skeleton and gathered what he could, silently praying. Up ahead, powerful monsters guarded their territory among many dead bodies. Hungry and desperate, Momori hesitated, wishing for food. Remembering the monsters he defeated, he reluctantly turned back, his stomach growling. Trying to eat from a minotaur, he found its armor too tough. He focused on its eye, despite the acid, but when he took a bite, he spat it out. It was inedible. Surviving in this dungeon seemed impossible for him. Just as despair began to set in, he noticed the gem on his bag changing color, revealing a surprise: beef jerky and a can of Coke. Surprised by the bag's magic, Momori wondered if it could provide more. Days passed together as Momori navigated the ruins, mastering even the most dangerous floors and leveling up quickly. Among his victories, memories of his tough childhood unexpectedly surfaced. He vowed to seek revenge against his father for his harsh beatings. His aunt and uncle had offered some comfort, providing him with a taste of a normal life, but he had hoped to learn kindness from them, a hope that was never fulfilled. As Momori moved forward, he no longer hesitated to kill monsters for revenge. He accepted this change in himself easily. As he continued, the monsters posed no threat to him anymore. But things changed when he found a gem on a door. Using his mana, he opened it and found a skeleton holding a letter. The letter revealed the skeleton was Anglin, once a great sage known as the Dark Hero. The goddess had mentioned him, saying his aura resembled Yasu's. In the letter, Anglin explained how the goddess had sent him to these ruins when she no longer needed him. His final words advised anyone who found the letter to take his belongings, if they wanted to escape alive. Momori found it ironic how the goddess had summoned them to destroy the evil of the demon lord, yet she seemed more evil herself. He had no plans to save this world. To him, they were all evil forces. In Anglin's bag, Momori found a book containing knowledge of forbidden arts, including recipes for medicine and magic tools, and scrolls of forbidden spells he couldn't understand. Suddenly, he found a bloody page with a warning about the Soul Eater. As Momori searched for an exit to the surface, he realized he needed something specific to open a door. Even the Dark Hero, considered the strongest, couldn't defeat the Soul Eater. Momori had leveled up as much as he could. Turning a corner, he came face to face with a pale creature, with a gem on its forehead called Soul Eater. Momori tried to use Paralyze, but the Soul Eater hit him with a beam first. Recognizing the danger, Momori considered leveling up more. Suddenly, the walls behind Momori burst open, and the Soul Eater approached him without attacking. Instead, it spat out some type of pink substance like slime, and summoned defeated adventurers, finding Momori reactions amusing. Breaking through another wall, it laughed with its eyes wide open. Momori tried to paralyze the pink substance warriors, but couldn't bring himself to use poison because it looked too much like humans. Overwhelmed, Momori started crying, realizing that the Soul Eater was feeding on his fear. It enjoyed seeing him helpless. As the warriors surrounded him, Momori begged for rescue, pretending to be desperate, but it was all an act. He secretly paralyzed the Soul Eater, waiting for the moment it let its guard down, thinking it had won. His acting seemed real, because he had played the innocent boy for years, in front of everyone. Momori used poison, slowly destroying the Soul Eater's monstrous face. As the Soul Eater perished, the souls of the fallen adventurers were released, praising Momori for his bravery and thanking him for freeing them. The Dark Hero asked Momori to take care of the goddess Vicious. That had been Momori's plan all along, to make the evil goddess pay. Inserting the crystal into the door, it finally opened. After a long time trapped in the dungeon, Momori finally saw the light and escaped. While the rest of the class is busy, trying to complete the goddess's tasks of killing monsters, Kirihara goes ahead and levels up to 18, and Yasu is having a great time. Meanwhile, Kabato is struggling to defeat even one monster. That's when Asagi steps in. She thinks that because of their different abilities and personal egos, they might split into groups soon, and she wants Kabato to join hers. Asagi tells her that if she can't contribute with her skills, she might as well be a monster herself. As an act of kindness, Asagi's followers capture a monster and forces Kabato to defeat it to pass the goddess's test, so she doesn't end up like Momori in the disposal ruins. Kabato feels sorry for the monster, and tears start welling up in her eyes. This reminds her of the time when Momori saved an injured cat, making her regret not being able to help Momori when he was abandoned. Meanwhile, Ayaka finally wakes up after being knocked out by Goddess. She quickly goes to the goddess, who pretends to feel sorry for her and Momori, saying that abandoning Momori was Kingdom's policy, and it was beyond her control. The goddess then explains the task of defeating monsters, mentioning that many heroes have already refused, resulting in their disqualification and are forced to leave the kingdom. She says it's a way to eliminate the weak. Ayaka, upset by the goddess's methods, shows her disapproval, but the goddess remains unaffected, telling her to accept it. Determined, Ayaka suggests taking on the responsibilities of those considered useless, offering to work for their place, and requesting to let them to stay. The goddess finds this idea interesting and suggests shaking hands as a sign of goodwill and an apology for treating her badly earlier. Ayaka shakes hands with the goddess, later noticing how cold her touch was. Meanwhile, there was a girl near Momori's ruins, running from a group of mercenaries called the Holy Watchers. She left clues behind as she fled. Outside the ruins, Momori checked his stats. He had reached level 1789 as an ear anchor, a big achievement. He discovered he could now cure paralysis and make his poison less deadly. Excited to try these new abilities, he goes deeper into the woods and saw some slimes attacking a smaller one. Just when it seemed hopeless for the little slime, it fought back. Momori intervened, paralyzing all the bigger slimes. Intrigued by his newfound powers, he let the larger slimes go and reassured the small one, promising not to harm it. Impressed by its courage, he lifted the paralysis, and the little slime timidly followed him. Feeling a connection as both were outcasts, Momori felt reassured, knowing someone had his back. In a book from England, Momori found a spell to empower monsters. Before using it, he explained to the slime that he was on a journey for revenge. The slime vowed to stay with him no matter what. Meanwhile, the girl in the woods, chased by mercenaries, tried to escape. With no other option, she decided to confront them, drawing her sword and preparing a spell to boost her strength. But before she could act, the mercenaries found Momori. Momori pretended to be scared of them. He begged for mercy as they threatened him, and spoke of breaking the girl's spirit. Irritated by their arrogance, Momori decided to step in. With a trembling voice and raised hand, he begged for mercy, but the mercenaries remained unmoved. They already decided to kill him. Momori quickly cast Paralyze, silencing them instantly. He then used poison to deal with the mercenaries. Sensing another presence nearby, the girl, who had run away from the mercenaries, was scared. She slashed through the bushes, only to find it was a diversion, as Momori paralyzed her from behind. Once immobilized, Momori introduced himself as an outsider and asked if the mercenaries were her companions. After releasing her from paralysis, she admitted they were hunting her, and was amazed to hear that Momori had already dealt with them. Sensing no harm from her, Momori seized the chance to ask about their location and other details. He also inquired if she could read in forbidden script he found. She recognized it but couldn't read it herself, mentioning a witch skilled in forbidden magic who might help. She tells that the witch has been exiled from her homeland and now lived in Golden Demon Zone in Middle Continent. Grateful that Momori saved her, she offered to repay him, but he declined, saying they were even and suggested parting ways. As he prepared to leave, Slime caught up with Momori. Momori explained he only killed according to his own rules and asked his partner to keep watch in case the girl followed him. Meanwhile, in the city, there was a large bounty on the half-elf Princess Syras, the girl Momori just met. Momori soon reaches a small town named Mills. A female knight on duty there is quite curious about his business. She thinks he's a simple country guy who came here to be a mercenary and explore some ruins. Despite her suspicions, she lets him in because the town lord has ordered all mercenaries to be allowed, especially those aiming to raid the ruins. Momori thanks her and heads inside, noticing that the security is pretty loose. They didn't even check his bags or ask for any ID, which works to his advantage. He arrives at an inn, where an old man runs the place. The man is unfriendly at first, but as soon as Momori shows him a silver coin, he starts acting like a personal servant. The old man asks for his name, and Momori gives a fake one, Hades Skull. That night, Momori takes a walk around the town. It's peaceful, though there are many outsiders and mercenaries. After gathering all the information he can, Momori returns to the inn and eats dinner. He pretends the food is delicious, even though he doesn't actually like it. He listens carefully to some drunk men at a nearby table, hoping to pick up some useful information. They're talking about the strongest knight orders on the continent. They concludes that the most powerful knight order is the Black Dragon Knights. They even burned down the Holy Kingdom of Nia in record time. The men are all excited about the Black Dragon Knights, especially praising their top hero killer. After hearing enough, Momori leaves the inn, taking some food for his pet slime, Pigamaru. While Pigamaru enjoys the rice, Momori starts planning his next move. He decides his first task is to find someone who can read the forbidden magic spell for him. He remembers the girl from the forest, telling him to meet the Forbidden Witch in the Golden Demon Zone. Before that, he plans to use a strengthening agent to make Pigamaru stronger. Suddenly, he remembers the drunk man who was talking about a newly discovered layer of ruins in their area, which has attracted mercenaries and made the town lively. Momori thinks he might find the Skeleton King's bones in those ruins, which are crucial for making the strengthening agent. So, the next morning, he joins other mercenaries heading to the ruins. They are greeted by Marquis Creed, the local lord. Creed announces that a new layer has been found in the Mills ruins and offers a reward of 300 gold coins for anyone who finds the ultimate treasure, the Cup of the Dragon's Eye. He also promises to buy all loot from the dungeon at a high price and lets the mercenaries keep the drops from monsters. During registration, Momori notices a noble named Flash trying to flirt with a girl who is wearing a hood. The girl asks what he wants, and Flash comments that her voice sounds like a certain leader of the Holy Knight Army from the ruined kingdom of Nia. Hearing this, the mercenaries wonders if the Night Princess of Nia is really here, as she has a large bounty on her head. Flash continues to flirt with her, even mentioning that her figure is similar to that of the elf princess, who once rejected his dinner invitation. The girl insists she's not elf princess. Then, she removes her hood to prove she's human and not an elf. When she removes the hood, her ears are normal, and Flash is surprised and humiliated. Momori recognizes the girl as the one he met in the forest, but chooses not to interfere. After that, Momori goes to the store to buy some tools, but he runs into the hooded girl, who recognizes him. She comes up to him and starts talking about the raid. Momori warns her to be careful with people like the man from earlier, as he might try to hurt her in the ruins. Momori then asks her for help in buying tools for exploring the ruins, as he's worried about getting cheated. He promises to pay her for her help, and she agrees, because she needs the money. She shakes hands with Momori and introduces herself as Miss Burkus. Momori realizes that it's a fake name. He tells her his name is Hades Skull, but admits that he's using a fake name for similar reasons. Mist helps Momori buy good equipment, and he gives her 3 silver coins for her advice, which is more than what she expected. She thanks him and starts to leave, but suddenly collapses from exhaustion. Momori sees the dark circles under her eyes as he helps her, but Mist says she just needs some rest and leaves. The next day, Momori goes into the Mills ruins and quickly sees some mercenaries running away from a demon, which is a younger version of the minotaurs he fought before. He paralyzes and poisons the demon, then finishes it off with his short sword. The mercenaries call their senior to deal with the demon and are shocked to see it defeated with just one stab of a short sword. Mamori continues into the ruins. He finds that the demons there are no match for him. As he's exploring, he overhears a man named Flash talking to mercenaries. Flash wants them to help him kill Miss Burkas because he can't stand anyone who humiliates him. He plans to torture her first and then feed her to the demons. Mamori is annoyed by Flash's plans and decides to come out of hiding to deal with them. Flash and his men were about to kill Mamori. Mamori tried to calm them by apologizing and promising to keep their secrets, but Flash wanted him dead. As Flash attacked, Mamori paralyzed him and his men. He then poisoned them and feels good about removing such scum. Mamori walked away, and Flash cursed him, promising he'll take revenge one day. But Mamori had left them alive because strong demons were coming. The demons arrived and ate Flash and his men. Mamori then went deeper into the ruins, taking a nap, with Pigamarv keeping watch. When he woke up, he kept moving and soon met a skilled adventurer group called the Sabertooth Tigers. Their leaders, Lily and Fo, noticed the dead monsters and thought a powerful enemy was nearby. They decided to leave for safety and invited Mamori to join them. Mamori thanked them, but chose to continue. Eventually, Mamori reached the room with the dragon eye cup. He saw a dragon statue behind it and knew that something was waiting there. Mamori notices a dragon statue behind him, and having seen enough movies, he knows it's going to attack if he tries to take the cup. So, he paralyzes and poisons the dragon statue first, then grabs the cup, and slowly the dragon dies. When he turns around, he sees Miss there. She's surprised to see that someone reached the room before her. She mentions that sleeping for a couple of hours cost her the grand prize. To her surprise, Mamori doesn't mind giving the cup to her. Mist is amazed and asks what she should pay for it, but Mamori tells her that she can keep it, as he is after something else. Mist can't accept something worth 300 gold coins for free because it would hurt her honor, but Mamori insists he doesn't need the cup or the money. He then finds a secret passage leading further into the dungeon. He tells Mist that what he wants is deeper inside, and he only used the recruitment offer to get this far. Mist then offers to be his bodyguard to the next floor as a way to pay him back for the cup. She insists that she will be useful, and after some thought Mamori agrees. He sets two conditions. First, she won't interfere in his personal matters, and second, he can't promise that they'll get out of the ruins quickly. Mist immediately agrees and vows to protect him with her life. They run into a creepy plant monster with golden eyes, and Mist quickly defeats it with her sword. Mamori claps and asks about the golden-eyed demons. Mist says these demons give lots of experience points and help heroes from other worlds level up faster. She adds that these heroes can't gain experience from killing humans, so they need to kill demons. Mist also explains that the Demon King's special magic turns normal creatures into golden-eyed demons, making them stronger and fiercer. This makes Mamori think of Kirihara, the golden hero, and he worries that his power might be connected. They reach a resting spot, and Mist senses a nearby monster. Mamori realizes it's Pigamaru, so he brings out the slime and introduces it to Mist. They quickly become friends. Mamori asks Mist to take a short nap, and she agrees. While she's lying down, Pigamaru starts dancing, distracting Mist. Mamori then uses his skills to put Mist to sleep. To his surprise, Mist glows and turns back into her real form, an elf. Mamori always had a hunch, but now knows that Mist is Syraz Ashrain, the Princess Knight of the Holy Kingdom of Nia. Meanwhile, the leader of the Black Dragon Knights, who saw the destruction Mamori caused, thinks Mist defeated the bandits alone. He looks forward to fighting her next time they meet. The next day, Mist wakes up, and her transformation skill makes her look like a normal human. She panics, thinking Mamori might have seen her in real form, but feels relieved when she sees him, still sleeping on the floor. Pigamaru comes up and starts squeaking, which makes Mamori stop pretending to be asleep. They start their journey into the dungeon. Suddenly, the whole floor starts shaking, and they decide to run. Out of nowhere, a giant monster breaks through the wall next to them. Mist recognizes it as the Skeleton King. Mamori realizes that it's the boss monster of this dungeon, because it's much stronger than any demon they've faced before. Mist knows that the strange bone under its chin is its weak point, and they need to hit it to win. She thinks regular mercenaries can't defeat the Skeleton King, but believes they might stand a chance together. The Skeleton King seems to see Mist as a bigger threat than Momori. Mist starts activating her power and tells Momori that she needs to use it to defeat the boss monster, but she wants to keep it a secret. She asks him to keep her secret as special armor appears on her body. The Skeleton King begins charging an energy blast, and Mist tells Momori to run if she can't defeat it. But Momori takes action first by paralyzing the boss monster with his skill. Mist is confused, but as Momori casts a poison spell, she realizes he's the same man she met in the forest. Soon, the Skeleton King dies from the poison. Momori collects the bones needed for the strengthening potion. He notices Mist's curious look and promises to answer her questions once they get back to the surface. They start heading back, and Piggymaru alerts Momori about something inside the Skeleton King's body. Momori searches and finds a small bundle in the demon's chest cavity. As soon as he takes it, it starts to glow and a strange symbol appears. When he opens it, he finds a strange egg. Piggymaru seems eager to have it, so Momori decides to carry it with him. Meanwhile, Momori's classmates are in trouble. Some students are running from skeleton knights. A girl with a severed arm is crying on the ground. Her friend tries to help, but they're attacked by monsters. Everyone manages to escape. Ayaka tries to stop the monsters while protecting her classmates, but is saved when Oyamata and Kirihara defeat them quickly. Kirihara doesn't worry about his classmates, and Ayaka has to protect them. Kirihara, proud of his power, says that he is now level 24. Back in the dungeon, Momori and Mist come to the surface. Mist shows the Dragon Eye cup to the guards, which grabs everyone's attention. While everyone is focused on the cup, Momori quietly leaves. Mist follows and tells him that she will get her reward from the Lord the next day. Momori asks if she is free until then. When she says yes, he invites her to his room that night to talk. Mist agrees and thanks him by holding his hand. That night, Momori is making a potion when Mist arrives. Momori wants to hire her as his escort for his journey. Even though she will get a reward from the cup, he still wants to hire her. He mentions the cup to make her feel obligated, though he doesn't like doing that. Momori shows her a map and says he wants to go to the Golden Demon Zone to meet the Forbidden Witch. He needs someone skilled to help him, and Mist is the only one he trusts. Mist is unsure about going to the dangerous area. Momori tells her that she can think about it. He then calls her by her real name, Cyrus, and she answers by mistake. She realizes that she's been tricked. Momori apologizes, saying he put her to sleep in the dungeon and learned her secret. He promises not to betray her because he needs her. Mist stops hiding and explains that she can use spirits to disguise her real form, but she needs sleep to regain their power. During that time, she returns to her true self. She shows Momori her real form and says she trusts him now. Mist agrees to be his escort, and Momori gives her a blue crystal as payment. Mist is surprised to see it's a blue dragon stone, a rare item worth more than her reward. She refuses to keep it, but Momori insists, saying she can throw it away if she doesn't want it. She takes it reluctantly and starts to explain her past and the people hunting her. Momori says that he doesn't care about her past, only her skills and trust matter to him. The next morning, while having breakfast, people at the inn talk badly about them. Momori tells Mist to ignore them and asks what she knows about forbidden spells. Mist tells Momori that Goddess Vicious bans some ancient spells, calling them forbidden spells. Momori thinks that these spells might be dangerous for Goddess. He thanks Mist, and she blushes, because it's the first time he's thanked her directly. Mist leaves to get her reward, and Momori goes to the forest to use the strengthening medicine on Piggymaru, while Mist finds her lonely at a party with rich people. It's late, and she hasn't received her reward yet. The Lord announces a famous magician who will break illusions as a show. Mist worries she might get caught and starts feeling anxious. Momori also starts to suspect something is wrong. Meanwhile, Ayaka visits Goddess Vicious to ask about treating the girl who lost her hand. Vicious says that she healed the girl only because she was a B-rank hero. Vicious then asks Ayaka why she isn't joining Kirihara's group and tries to make her feel selfish for not teaming up with another S-rank hero. Ayaka stands firm and says she can't work with Kirihara right now. Vicious says she'll let the students who failed the first trial train with Ayaka. Ayaka panics and reminds Vicious of their deal, that these students would be left alone if she fought on their behalf. Vicious says she has new orders from the king and must follow them. She tells Ayaka that if she doesn't take the failed students with her, they will be disposed of, just like Momori. Ayaka has no choice but to accept. Momori thinks that Mist might have betrayed them and run away with the prize money, or something bad happened to her. Since betrayal seems unlikely, he goes to find her. On his way, he hears people saying that the girl who lost her hand is the wanted elf princess. They say she ran into the forest, and the Black Dragon Knights are after her. Suddenly, 3 dragons appear in the sky and head towards the forest, where Mist is running. One of the Dragon Knights attacks her. Mist fights back using her spirit magic and enchants her sword to defeat the other 2 knights. She is tired from fighting them, even though they are low-ranking members. Suddenly, a spear flies towards her. Mist blocks it and realizes a dragon charging at her is a decoy. The real threat is a high-ranking Nai, named Gizzen. They clash swords, and Gizzen tells her that she'll die here. Mist can't fight at full strength because of an earlier spell, and Gizzen keeps pushing her back. He says he has orders to kill her, but plans to have some fun first. Gizzen overpowers Mist, making her fall and kicking her sword away. Just as he is about to attack her, Momori arrives, paralyzing Gizzen and his dragon, and puts non-lethal poison on Gizzen. Mist asks why he is there, and about to use his real name. Momori reminds her that they can't talk about personal matters in public, and says that he came to rescue her. Mist refuses his job offer, saying he will be pursued by the Dragon Knights if he stays with her. She tries to return the blue dragon stone, but Momori gets annoyed and throws a pouch full of dragon stones at her. Mist is surprised, and Momori says that he can't find a better escort than her and won't look for one. Then, he suddenly asks her to undress, leaving Mist shocked. If you like this video, please subscribe my YouTube channel.